viewers, my name is Lucky Ayasi and this is Lumiyasi Fashion. Today I'm going to show you how to properly use an industrial sewing machine. I'm going to show you the parts of an industrial sewing machine and its function, so as to give you a better idea on how to properly use an industrial sewing machine. Stay tuned. So first things first, this is the power control. This is where you on and off the machine. You turn it on and you turn it off. As you can see, the green button is to on it, the red button is to turn it off. So let me on it, and as you can see from the sound, you can see the machine is on. The green button is down. So if you want to turn it off, you press the red button and it goes off. Now this is the stitch regulator. This is where you control the length or the width of the stitch. So if you want a wide stitch, you can take it all the way to 5. If you want a very small tiny stitch, you can take it to 1. But on average, the stitch length that you can use to normally do your normal sewing is between 2, 2.5 and 3. So this is the stitch regulator. This is where you control the length of the stitch. Now this is the reverse lever. When you bring it down, it does a reverse stitch. Every tailor knows that you cannot just run a stitch without doing a back stitch. A back stitch reinforces, it sews on top of the stitch you've made already, so it reinforces the stitch. So when you are sewing and you give a back stitch, it actually reinforces the stitch so that it won't put, that area will not pull off. So this is a reverse stitch lever. So when you press it down, this is the head of the machine. This is what turns to actually make your machine to sew, and this is controlled by the motor. This is controlled by the motor. Now this is your tension lever, thread tension lever, upper thread tension lever. So when you turn it, when you tighten it, it creates a restriction in the movement of your thread, and that is necessary. That restriction, that's what is called the tension. That is necessary for you to get a good stitch. If the thread passes freely through this lever, then you not get a good stitch. So this is the thread tension lever. Most likely it's not advisable to adjust this. Once it's set, just leave it at that particular setting. If not, you might mess the stitch up. Now this is the thread spool. This is where you place your thread and you pass it through the various areas to thread the machine. As you can see, there are 2 thread spools here. That means you can actually thread 2 separate threads on this sewing machine. Now this is the presser foot. You can actually raise it up. You can raise it up through this lever. This iron you're seeing down here, once you move it this way, it actually raises up the presser foot, and when you leave it, it brings it down. There are 2 areas where you can control this presser foot. Let's come to the back area here. This is another area where you can control the presser foot. You can raise it up. As you can see, once I pull this up and I bring it down, it can control the presser foot. Now this is the presser foot. The presser foot is where you actually raise up and place your fabric inside. When you place your fabric inside, you press it down. This is what presses the fabric down to give it that stability when you are sewing. So without this presser foot, there will be no lever to actually control your fabric when you are sewing. So it's necessary for the presser foot to be there so that it will bring the fabric down. This is our needle. So you to bring out the needle and replace it, you have to loosen this nut here that you have here. Yeah, this right here, this heavy thing you're seeing underneath the machine right here is the motor. This is like the power, just like an engine is to a car. This is the engine of the sewing machine. This is what actually propels the machine and makes it each of the part of the machine to sew. So this is like the engine of the machine. This is what moves the parts of the machine to enable you to sew. This is the motor. Now there are 2 types of industrial machine. Now there's an industrial machine that they call the direct drive. That direct drive machine doesn't have this motor. The motor is actually embedded inside the machine. So but for this kind of machine, this is the motor. This is what empowers and moves the machine. So when you're pressing that foot right there, you're actually empowering the motor to actually run and move the parts of the machine. So these are the basic parts of an industrial sewing machine. Now let me show you how to thread the machine. To thread an industrial sewing machine, you have to actually thread this upper threading and there's under thread. So this is where you actually put the under thread, because a typical sewing machine has a thread running under and it has an upper thread. So this is the under thread. So you place this railer inside the shuttle, then you put it, there's a hole here, you put it you put the thread inside the hole, then you pass it through this other side and it comes out here, so it runs freely. You have to place it under the machine. Now when you place the shuttle inside the machine, you hear a clicking sound. That clicking sound is to tell you that the shuttle is actually well inserted. Yeah, as you can hear, there's a clicking sound. Then this is your upper thread. You first things first, you pass it on this hole here at the top. You pass it on this hole. You pass it on this hole. It comes out on the other side. That's the first area. Then you pass it on this other hole here. I believe most brands have this same pattern of threading. Pass it on this second hole. Then you pass it on this hole on this iron here. Then you pass it under the thread tension control. Place it under. When you put it under, when you pull it, you discover that there's a restriction. It's the tension that is restricting the movement of the thread. That's what will enable you to have a good stitch. Then you place it under here. Then you place it, there's also a lever here. You place it under here. When you place it under here, you place it. Then you place it under here too. Place it here. Hope you're following very. Then you raise your needle up. Pass it on this side of the needle. You pass it from outside in, not inside out, from outside in. So you pass the thread inside the eye of the needle. Inside the eye of the needle. Yes. Then you pull it in. Then you hold the thread down like this. Then you turn the machine. This is the machine head. You put the needle inside. Then the needle with the thread will bring out the under thread from the shuttle. So this is how to thread an industrial sewing machine. So after doing this, you raise the presser foot up. Then you take both thread and pass it to the back so that it won't get entangled when you are sewing. So this is how to thread an industrial sewing machine. So the final part of this video, I'll show you how to stitch with the machine. So now we're about to sew. As you can see, the machine is on. I've already successfully threaded the machine. So first things first, what you need to do is you need to raise the footer up, the presser foot. You place your fabric inside, then you bring the footer down. As you can see, the footer is down. So this as you can see, my foot is on the lever. So you press it. Now an industrial machine, you have to be very careful. It's very fast. It's very fast. So when you're pressing this lever, you just need to press it a little, just like a throttle in a car. You press it a little. If you press it very fast, let me try and press it hard, and you see the results. So let me press it hard now. As you can see, it's very fast. So that's one mistake most new novices in the usage of an industrial machine, that's what they do. They press it hard. So but for you to actually get a full control of the machine, you need to press it a little, press it down a little. You can, in that way, you get more control over it. As you can see, I'm sewing. As you can see, I'm sewing. So you press it a little, you press it a little, you press it a little, and you can see my stitch is forming. I'm using a contrasting thread so that I can easily see the stitch. You can see it's forming. I'm just pressing it a little, pressing it a little, as you can see. But in a situation where you need to do a very fast work, you can press it very hard. That's where you get this kind of speed. So like, let's say I'm in a haste now, so I can press it very hard, and you can see it's sewing very fine. Now, like as you can see, the thread, this is a thread, the stitch regulator is on 3 now. Let's say I want to get a white stitch, like a gather stitch. I can take it all the way to 5. So just observe the stitch now. You discover that it's giving me a very white stitch. You see, very, very white stitch. Look at what I'm getting. A very white stitch. Just watch the stitch. You see, it's very, very white. It's very white. Now if I take it back to like 2.5, it's going to give me a tight stitch. As you can see, even with the movement of the machine, you can see that the stitch is tight. So that's how it is. So this is how to use. It's usually very fast. It's usually very fast. That's why it's called an industrial machine. You can do mass production. See, it's very, very fast. So this is how to use an industrial machine to sew. Okay, I hope you now know how to use an industrial sewing machine. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, Luyasi Fashion. I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on WhatsApp. You can actually like, share, and subscribe so that you get new updates when I upload a new video. You get first-hand knowledge of the video on fashion tips, tailoring techniques, and sewing tutorials. Thank you very much.